Hello, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Sam.
And this is our 2007 Chevy Express box van. We call her Birdie. We finished her last May and we've been traveling on and off since then.
All right, welcome inside everyone. So we are standing right now in our kitchen area. On this side, we have our pantry and where we keep all of our silverware, dishes, utensils, spices, everything up there. Down here is our sink, as well as our fruit basket. Underneath is kind of more storage of cleaning supplies, their trash, all the plumbing goes under there. Our hot water heater is under here. In here, we have our toiletry section area, as well as more pantry space below it. Up here we have our little bookshelf that has all of our national park books, our state books, everything for us for traveling, as well as some leisure reading. So inside of our sink, it's about, I don't know, foot by foot here. And we do have a lid that goes on top, which is really nice for cutting on, as well as hiding the dishes when you don't quite want to do them right away. And it's just a nice cover, more extra counter space. It blends in pretty well over here. On board, we have 16 gallons of fresh water, and it's actually right behind me in this here. So we can monitor it and see how much we have daily. And then underneath the truck, we have about a 10-gallon gray tank, which we have the option of either draining to the ground or draining into the tank. So our countertops are live edge black walnut slabs. We let them dry for about 6 months, and then we covered them in a 2-part epoxy seal to give like that bar top shiny look. And we just like the front edge on both of them here. So on this side of the kitchen, you can kind of touch both sides from where you're standing. We have our 2-burner Dometic propane stove. So we only carry 10 pounds of propane with us since it's a small stove, and that's the only thing that runs on propane. And that's stored underneath here, as well as our pots, pans, extra little propane tanks for heating. And then above here, we have our clothing cabinet. So this is mine and this is Jacob's. And then as we go down, we added in this window over here since with a box truck has no windows. And we want some light that comes through. So we added this little small RV window in. And then this huge countertop is super nice, either folding laundry, cleaning dishes, letting them dry, anything extra counter space is wonderful. Then below we have our little dorm fridge. So it has a freezer and a fridge portion on it. And this is an AC fridge. As for space in it, I think it works great for us. We're only 2 people and we go to the grocery store maybe every 5 days or so. So we're able to pack both the freezer and the fridge, and it's good. And then as of power consumption, it doesn't take too much. It is our biggest draw in our system, but every night we get down, if we have a full charge, by the end of the day, it drops to about 50-60%, and that's mainly through our fridge, since that is the AC component. And then as we keep going back, we have another little cabinet with more utensils, overflow toiletries, and the below is our game cabinet. So we love to play a lot of board games while we are traveling, so that's where they're stored down there. So if you move a little bit more forward towards our living room area, we added in a TV, kind of inset it into the walls here, and we can just move these if we need to get it out. It is not plugged in all the time, and we don't even have cable, so we have a DVD player with us. We'll bring along DVDs, we'll go to thrift stores, we'll find DVDs to watch, and then we just bring that out every few nights or so. It's not every night. Just nice to have a little movie night here and there.
The reason we built out the box truck was because it was available to us. My dad bought it, but then didn't really do much with it, and it became my younger sister's daily driver. So she was driving this thing to high school, to a job at a coffee shop, and she really wasn't very happy with the situation. And I had a Toyota Camry, and I figured that it would be a service to the family, a nice trade to give my sister the Camry, take the box truck off her hands. So we did that, and then I said to Sam, I was like, why don't we convert it and travel for a while? And at the time, we both had jobs. We were living with our parents, so it was easy to save. So we were like, let's build it out and go travel for a while. So it took us like 8 months of nights and weekends to get it done.
It didn't take too much convincing for me. As long as I could design the inside and put the aesthetically colors together and make it a little bit more homey, not just utilitarian.
Yes, it would have been different if it was just me, but I'm very glad that she designed it the way it is because it looks really pretty. It wasn't crazy hard because we wanted to do it. We wanted to live in the box truck. And at the time, because both of our parents are divorced, we're like between 4 houses and we wanted to have our own space. So that was also a motivating factor, is just to have a place that we could call ours. And it's nice that it's on wheels and we can take it to wherever the weather's the best.
And the transition of size-wise wasn't too big of an issue for us. We were very simple people and we don't need a whole lot to be happy, as long as like we have each other and we have all of our most important things with us. And it is nice, we do have family back at home, that all of our other things are being stored at temporarily until we eventually find a future, a bigger vehicle or a house. All right, so we've taken a few steps backwards and we're now in the bathroom area. So behind here, the sliding door, we have it's a 24 by 24 shower pan, and our composting toilet sits in here as well. We created a little cubby in there to keep all of our sunscreen, our shampoo, conditioner, everything you can think of in here. As well as inside here, we do have a vent fan just to keep the airflow going once you are showering. It's in a very occasional shower. If we have the option to utilize other bodies of water to shower, we definitely will, but it is nice to just know we can use this whenever needed. It's a good safety, security item, especially if we go for a run. It's nice just to rinse off and not have to be sweaty for the next 3 days or so. So on the other side of the bathroom is our closet. I'll unhook it here. So we added in a closet because we want to have a lot more space just to hang clothes if we need any fancy clothes with us. We have about 20 or so hangers in here. It has our rain jackets, sweatshirts, everything that's a little bit bulkier that can't quite fit folded up is hung. As well as underneath, this is where we keep all of our electrical components of the builds. So our house battery is under here, our inverter is under here, all of our important switches, the solar charge controller, everything is inside of this closet. So I think one of the most important things that we love about this truck is that it came with a pass-through, which is super important, that if we're driving at night, we park somewhere, we don't even have to open our back doors, we can just open this, come through, and we're right here in bed and in our home. One of our most labor of love parts of the build is most likely our ceiling. So this took a lot of time and we're very proud of it. It is all recycled pallet wood. So we got the pallets, cut up the pallets, planed them, sanded them, stained them, and then put them all up, which took quite some time. We did think about making them all the same size, evenness, but we think it gives a nice, better, homier look when they're all a little bit uneven.
So now we've moved into the living room. This is where we spend the majority of our time. We have a table that sits on 2 poles here, which we keep up most of the time when we're, sitting in here hanging out. Gives us space to sit at, eat, work, play board games. We have another vent fan back here that allows us to get like a cross breeze, and we're pretty heavily insulated, so we don't heat up pretty quick, unlike a lot of buses that have a bunch of windows. It heats up real fast. The 2 inches of insulation in the walls and the one in the ceiling really, keeps the cold out, keeps the heat in on a cold day. And we often use our propane stovetop kind of to heat the truck. We'll cook dinner pretty late one night, and that'll keep it warm overnight, which is pretty cool. The table, when we want to put it into the bed, drops down and sits on these rails. We actually built most of these structures out of recycled pallet wood as well. I just got 12 pallets from the place I was working, and we did that. All that. I got my guitar rack back here. I was kind of feeling my carpentry skills at the end, so I built something funky, and I'm pretty proud of that. And then we also have an inch of insulation in the floor, so it just keeps everything, nice and insulated. We do have storage underneath. So these cabinets open from the top here and also from the side at the back, so you have 2 ways of entry, and we keep all of our bed materials in there, our DVD player, yoga mats, extra blankets, extra clothes, growler for breweries, all the important stuff in there. And this one's full of most of our tools, which, we like to have tools with us in case anything breaks, because we've had issues with the water pump and stuff. and it's good to be able to fix them. I'm a little conflicted about the fact that we have to move the bed up and down. It's nice because it keeps us organized. We have to like clean up every day in order to do that, and if not, it would get super, super messy in here. So that's a good part, but at the same time, it is a little annoying because it's an extra step. You can't just jump into bed every night. And also because I built this place, it's not perfectly square. This space is a little skinnier on this end than it is over there. So if you drive with the table in bed position, sometimes it'll wiggle itself out. So, you know, that's what you get when it's home built. Yeah, so this is like my air conditioning unit. I just hang it over my head at night, aim it down, blast it at my face. It keeps me nice and cool, adds a little white noise in case it's loud outside. It's a very important piece of the comfort sleeping in the hot in here. We also have an awning up top here. It comes out and attaches to the doors. It also will drop all the way down to the floor to use as a shade kind of, or like a privacy barrier. We'll do that often. And then the doors themselves we built, it used to have a roll top door, which was super rattly and loud. So we had to get rid of that, and it also took up precious headspace in the ceiling. We couldn't have finished the ceiling in the same way if the door continued to tug up there.
As of right now, we really don't have a time frame of when we want to be done traveling. We've already been on the road for almost a whole year. This May of 2022 will be 1 year since living in the Birdie, and we're really excited to head out west since I've grown up on the East Coast, and we can see that in our sleep. But to go out west will be something new and fun to explore.
Yeah, and over the summer we spent most of the time in the Northeast just to make sure we weren't too far from home in case something bad did happen, something failed in the truck. But we're pretty confident in her now, so we figure now's the time to go. And our plan is to kind of travel from now until next winter, and then maybe get a seasonal job or find some work at that point, because we found working seasonal fits us pretty well. Right now we're not doing anything. Over the Thanksgiving to Christmas, I was selling Christmas trees, which is always a great seasonal job. I've worked in a lot of garden centers, so that's good for seasonal labor.
And I'm a preschool teacher, so with the job I have worked at in the past, I've been moved to a sub position, and they're all over the US, so I have the option of we are in an area for long enough and we feel like we need to work for a week or two, I can reach out and see if they need any subs at the center.
All right, so these are our doors. We're really happy that they fit in the holes and swing and hold everything. It was probably the most stressful part of the build because we felt like we only had one shot. If we messed up the size of the doors, they wouldn't have fit in the holes and it would have been a whole disaster. And then after we finally got the doors built, we realized that these bolts kind of poke you when you sleep. So I put these little cushions up. We call them our wall raviolis, I guess. Burlap raviolis keep me from hurting myself when I sleep, because I sleep on this side of the truck. We also have our porch here. We actually originally built it to try to keep a dirt bike with us, but we didn't build the most structurally sound way. We just built this big wooden platform and then bolted it to the existing bumper. And over time it was bending away from the truck, so we had to leave the dirt bike at home. But in the future, we would like to put a hitch on the truck and trailer both of our bikes. When we don't want to have a table inside, we put it on 2 brackets on the door. We decided to do that because at one point we drove away with the table leaned up against the side of the truck and it's split in half. So we fixed the table and then figured we should have a way that we can always see it so we don't forget it again. So we actually fabricated the doors ourselves. So we bought sheets of fiberglass reinforced plywood from a truck parts store. And then they sold us the kits for the locks and we had to weld those together. But other than that, it was all things we had done before. It was really just a question of cutting the doors to the right shape and size, because we had this big sheet of plywood and we had to get it perfect. So that was a lot, but it went really well. And then we got the seat channeling on, which they also sold to us. So this rubber seal keeps all the water out. And it was great because we built them and then it was downpoured the next day and was a real test of is it gonna leak in there? And they don't leak, and we're really proud of that. So on this side of the truck, you can see our window, you can see our solar panels at the top and where the wires enter to go to the solar charge controller and all the electrical components. The reason that the solar panels are on those bars is because we didn't want to puncture the roof at all. The box truck is a fiberglass box truck with a steel frame, and the roof is made of a pretty thin sheet of aluminum. So we're not very comfortable standing up there, and we wanted to make sure the weight of the solar panels were nicely distributed across the whole roof. So we took some big steel square tubing, and we built a structure on the top and brought it all the way across to the other existing frame to make sure that the weight was distributed and we didn't want to puncture the roof. We decided there weren't any holes to begin with. Let's not put any holes in the roof. Let's keep it leak-free. And that's why the vent fans are on the side of the truck rather than in the roof. And that ended up to be a benefit because it creates a nice cross breeze when we have them both going. And on the roof we have 585 watts of solar and 125 amp hour battery. We decided that it was cheaper to buy more panels than batteries, so that's why we have the issue with the water heater, and that's why we drain down to about 50% at night, but it charges right up in the morning. By like 1 o'clock, if on a sunny day, we're usually fully recharged. So we're on Instagram at the Traveling Box Truck. We post there all the time. We also have a YouTube. We make some vlogs. It's also the Traveling Box Truck. That's, they're really for our grandmothers to let them know what's going on. But if you want to follow along, you're welcome to join. And we made a TikTok, but there's not a lot on there yet. So that's coming soon.
We found that a lot of people traveling are a little bit older than us, so we love that we jumped right in this at the time we did. Not a lot of people that we've met here are as young as us, and everyone's super excited for us that we did this right away. And I say go out there, do your adventures now while you can, and be happy with it.
Exactly. It's been a lot of fun, and it's definitely been a great way to grow together and just kind of, it's a good way to be in love.